Hey, listeners, and welcome to another episode of Show Me Your Hustle. Today, I am sitting down with Jonas. Jonas, can you tell the listeners about yourself, your story, and what you're doing?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me, Ashley. Very excited to share the story about Qualify and myself. Maybe some background. I used to be an internal operator at a B2B SaaS company where I was responsible for data and operations. So data as in data warehouse, Snowflake, etc. And operations as in HubSpot, Planhats for customer success management. And then after we were acquired, I wanted to do something different. So I started out as a freelancer, mainly for B2B SaaS companies as well, and setting up their infrastructure, data operations again, and doing a lot of HubSpot implementations or integrations. Realized there was a need for better data management. And then a good friend of mine reached out and wanted to build out a niche product. So we wanted to build something that we could bootstrap with the two of us. So we decided to focus on HubSpot deduplication, as that was something that a lot of my clients were running into. And when we were having user interviews, users were telling us that they were having problems with. So we built an MVP, launched it in the marketplace of HubSpot in February last year, and now we've been doing this for over a year, and are liking it a lot and seeing some great traction.
Awesome. I That's a great story and excited to dive more in.
Mhm.
What ultimately was the vision behind? Like you shared a little bit of how you got there, but
Yeah.
what's the vision?
The vision is to simplify deduplication in the first place, because it's a very cumbersome problem, and it's not that easy to solve with the existing functionalities. It's also not, there's just some nuances for every company that you need to address. And that's what we wanted to do, just to make it simple to detect them and to merge them, and to deal with a problem that is pretty annoying and not that sexy, because like data management is very often not the coolest thing to do, but in the end you need it in order to improve your customer experience, your reporting, etc.
Right. Okay. You mentioned bootstrapping, and how do you prioritize growth opportunities versus maintaining stability of bootstrapping?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think because you're bootstrapping, you're you're thinking, you're evaluating every growth opportunity a bit more caution, especially if
Mm-hmm.
they require bigger investments. But then on the other hand, you do an exercise and try to evaluate the return of every growth investment, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, use that to decide if you're going to do something or not. But it's not that you have a pile of cash sitting there that you can try and experiment with everything. You really
Right,
need to be
right.
more selective with what you do. Yeah.
With selectiveness, how do you approach risk?
Um, I think it's not that we are more risk averse.
Mm-hmm.
Like also not like what would be the biggest risk for us is like the biggest investment generally. Like it's not that we're taking any loans, but we're sometimes like we're investing in ISO and SOC certification at the moment, for example, which
Mm-hmm.
is pretty unusual for a two-man company,
Yeah,
and also
right.
pretty expensive. So it is a risk on the one hand that it's a pretty big expense and a pretty big
Yeah,
cost, and it's hard to estimate return. But then again, based on customer feedback, we decided that it was a thing that we needed to do.
yeah.
Also, Matt has been pretty vocal here on doing it, and also for other HubSpot solution partners, that HubSpot is gonna take certifications and security standards more into account also when sharing business, as they go more up markets. So that's why I
Yeah,
also decided to do it.
that makes sense. I understand though that's a tough call as you're balancing your finance and your current customers and the heavy lift. And so totally understand that. Along that balancing act, what's been a tough lesson you've learned in the year that you've been doing this?
I think the toughest lesson was last week when HubSpot announced auto dedupe functionalities in HubSpot Pro. That was a bit out of the blue,
Yeah.
in the sense that it was not correlated or not really integrated with how the embedded or the current
Right.
functionalities of HubSpot were doing. So that's still unclear because it's just happened last week, or the beta was announced last week, what the impact would be.
Yeah.
I do think that there will still be use cases where our product is more advanced, and also on the low end of the market where OpsHub is still, or OpsHub Pro is still pretty expensive for people to purchase just for an effective deduplication solution, especially if you're a smaller company or just a startup like us.
Yeah, that makes sense. With do you foresee that as a setback, or do you think there's a way that this actually helps your business if you
Uh,
merge around it?
yeah, it's a good question. It's hard to make an estimation, but it will probably have a negative effect on our business in the sense that there will be customers for where the embedded functionality in OpsHub Pro will be sufficient, and who want to do have the budget to spend on the upgrades to OpsHub Pro.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna ask you just. We'll move into some fun questions. I love hearing these about founders. And what does your daily routine look like? How do you maintain productivity?
That's a great question. I don't know. You had one kid, Ashley, right? Is that correct? I
Yep.
have two. So, yeah, the daily routine is mainly tailored towards the kids. So in the morning, it's making sure they get some food, they get at school or in the daycare, and then
Yeah.
usually only at 9 o'clock you're able to get like started because yeah, school only starts a bit before 9 here.
Okay.
Um, and then in the evening as well, it's yeah, like during the morning I try to be as productive as possible. So I block my calendar for most external meetings. So do focus time like content creation, any deep focus work, and then in the afternoon is open for meetings like these, and also many client calls because that's my least productive time of the day. And
Right.
then the kids come in again at like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock usually, until they go to bed at 7, and then afterwards at 8 o'clock I start again because a lot of our customers are based in the US, and then I have mainly prospect and client calls. So
Right.
it's really working around the schedule of the kids, schedule focus time when you're most productive, and
Right.
then use the other time to connect with clients and prospects. Because you have a very high volume business, so you have thousands of installs, thousands of hundreds of prospects. So there are a lot of shorter conversations.
Yeah, that makes sense. I love that that shift has really happened for a lot of founders where their family dynamics are driving versus the traditional, 8 to 5. And so it's really fun to hear that everyone is able to merge and adapt around making their home life sustainable as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's the advantage I think of working like a hybrid or almost fully remote. Also in an ecosystem, like you're also working in the HubSpot ecosystem where everybody is just used to meeting online and not necessarily in person.
Yeah,
Um, so that really helps giving you the flexibility to tailor your day towards the needs of the family and also the needs of your customers and clients.
right, right. What what's a great book, podcast, advice that helped you get started?
Oh, that's a good question. I used to read a bit more when I was younger and had more time. I
Yeah.
haven't been reading a lot lately. Um, I think it's mainly experiences from people around you rather than specific books or podcasts. I used to work for different startups and B2B SaaS companies and notice what I liked there and what I didn't like, which inspired me to bootstrap to stay small as long as possible. Yeah, that based on what you see. You're also bootstrapped, right, with Superette? So I don't know how you experience that as an employee.
Yeah, I think it's everyone wears multiple hats. You have to have an 8-player team. Everyone has to be committed. And those are the 3 big elements that make a dream team for bootstrapping.
Yeah. And do you also feel... Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
go ahead.
Because you had an interesting question on like risks or investments. Do you also feel that as an employee that you... because you're bootstrapped, there's less budget for, I know, tools, experimentation, or that's not the case at Superette?
I think it's just being smart about it and making sure that it's not, that everyone is recommending and spending within the best interest of the company.
Yeah.
And really doing the research and understanding the impact on spending.
Yeah. Good. Sounds familiar.
Yeah. All right, my favorite question. Are you binge watching any TV shows or series?
No, not at the moment. Just too little time to watch a lot of television. I almost watch no television, to be honest. I try to stay up to date with some of the podcasts, some of the videos, HubSpot, Admin Hug. Those are when I have some spare time, those are the things that I try to watch.
I love it.
Just to stay up to date. Just like if you're bootstrapping with 2, there's so many things to do. There's never a...
Right.
And have 2 kids on the side.
Totally.
Yeah.
You're like, I have no time for that. I hear you.
Not at the moment. Those are things that I plan to do when I'm older.
Yes. I love it. Well, Jonas, thank you so much. It was really great hearing your story and so excited to watch you just continue to grow.
Thanks for having me, Ashley.
Thank you.